The 1st of March, we will be looking at the sine rule, and we'll be properly starting it with a few questions. So the sine rule involves any triangle. It doesn't have to be a right angle triangle, and it's important to note how we label our triangle. So we label our sides small a, small b, and small c, and the angles that are opposite those sides, we'll call them capital A, capital B, and capital C. So the sine rule states that if you take any side A and divide it by sine of the opposite angle, that's going to be the same as if you take another side B and divide it by sine of that angle opposite, and the same for C and sine C. You can also write it the other way around. You can have your angles on the top. So sine of an angle A divided by the opposite side is going to give us the same answer if we take sine of B and divide it by the opposite side, which will be the same for sine C over C. Now we use the sine rule if we have two sides and an angle, or two angles and a side. And although the sine rule concerns angles and sides A, B, C, our working out really only concerns two angles and two sides. So you'll not really see the third part. Our working out only concerns two fractions really. Now, depending on whether we're looking at a missing angle or a missing side, we will choose either the top or the bottom way of working out. Now, the first type of question is if we have a missing angle. So the first thing I want you to do for any type of triangle question that we have is label our sides. And this particular question already has capital A, capital B, and capital C for our angles. So then just opposite your capital A, label your side small a. Opposite your capital B, label your angle small b. And then opposite your capital C, label your side small c. Now this particular question is asking us for the size of angle A, B, C. We are looking for this angle. So we can call it X, we can call it whatever we want. But just notice that for this question, we're not concerning ourselves with either angle C or side C. So using our formula, using our sine rule, sine of an angle divided by the opposite side is equal to sine of the other angle divided by the opposite side. So sine A over A is equal to sine B over B. And I'm just going to tick what we have, what we know. We know the value of A, therefore sine A. We know the value of the opposite side. We don't know the value of sine B, but we do know the value of the opposite side to be. Now it is for this reason that I've written the sine rule out with the angles on top. Because if the unknown is an angle, keep that unknown on the top of a fraction because it's easier to manipulate. So we can plug in what we know. Sine of A is sine of 60 divided by A, which is 18, is equal to sine of B, which we don't know, divided by B, which is 20. So because this is the unknown, all we have to do is calculate this and multiply it by 20, and that will give us sine of B. So that's what I've done in the next line. I've just taken this 20 across and I'm going to multiply it by whatever sine of 60 divided by 18 is, and that will give us sine of the angle B. But of course we want the angle B, which is ABC, so we do the inverse sine of this answer. So another very similar question then. We're looking for the sides of the angle labelled Y. So start by labelling your sides and your angles. There's A, angle A, and opposite it is side A. Here is the angle B, which we don't know yet, but opposite it, we do know side B. So sine A over A is equal to sine B over B. So we know sine A, and we know A. We know B, but we don't know sine B. That's what we're looking to find out. So plug in what you have. Sine of A is sine of 84. Opposite it, 32.4. And that's going to be equal to sine of Y, which we don't know, divided by the opposite side, which is 21. So same as before, we're going to work this out, multiply by 21. And then we have to do inverse sine to get the size of angle Y. And one more question where we're finding a missing angle. Label your sides A and opposite. Label your angles and sides B and opposite it. So we don't use sine of C over C because we'll have enough information here anyway. So we know A, therefore we know sine of A. We know the side A. We don't know sine B, but we do know the side that's opposite. So sine of A is sine of 64 divided by side A, which is 15. That's going to be equal to sine of Y, which we don't know, divided by the opposite side, which is 10. Work this out, multiply it by 10, and then take the inverse sine of our answer, and that will give us angle Y. So for those three questions, because I am working out a missing angle, I've written the sine rule with sine A and sine B on the top. But for the next two questions, I think we're asked for the size of, in this case, x, and x is the side. So we're looking at length. Now, because we're looking at length, I'm going to put the lengths on the top, A and B on the top, and then sine A and sine B on the bottom. It's not essential, but it just means there's less messing about to do whenever we're rearranging. But label your sides just as before. So if I call this one A and opposite it side A, so angle A opposite side A, we'll call side B here, that should be capital B and a small b. So we have angle B is opposite side B. Now I do have to calculate angle B by subtracting the two angles from 180. I can't use this 40 degrees because there's no angle, there's no side opposite it. I have to use 20 here and whatever this angle is. So looking at our formula, side A we don't know, but we do know sine of A. We do know B and sine B, we can work them out. So to calculate x, you will work out 20 divided by sine 94, which is B over sine B, and then multiply it by sine 46. And you don't need to do any inverse sine here because you're working with sides. And the next question, so capital A, therefore opposite it is small a, capital B, opposite it is small b. We're looking for a length, so I'm keeping the lengths on the top, A and B. Now which ones do we know? This is the one we're looking to find out, but we do know sine of A, we do know B and sine B. So work this out, multiply by sine 33, and then that should be your answer in centimeters.